Well, blessed Tuesday to you as we come with your daily encouragement. And we're talking about the whole idea of putting Christ first, putting his decision, his plan ahead of your own, and the struggle that we sometimes have of having doing a cost benefit analysis. And that's what we usually do with most decisions in life. But Peter and Paul will say both of these things. In fact, this is where they're in such congruity. They will say, make sure you're listening to the Lord first and your cost benefit analysis second. The world would say the opposite because the world doesn't understand God as a foundation. Not all the time. They'll just put your reason there. And Luther doesn't discourage reason. In fact, in his famous Here I Stand speech, he said, unless you can convince me from scripture and pure reason. Yeah, he was open to both scripture and pure reason. I will take another position, but right now, here I stand. God help me, I can do no other. There's many ways that people have phrased his here I stand statement, but notice that it was based on both, but he took the priority of the gospel and the calling of God to a certain place. And so Peter says the same thing in verse 18, where he says, For Christ suffered also, for Christ also suffered for the sins once for all, the righteous for the unrighteous, in order to bring you to God. And he put to death in the flesh, but was made alive in the spirit. In other words, look at Christ, how he decided his cost benefit analysis. Garden of Gethsemane is that moment. In one of our altar paintings that has been moved now to a stairwell because it has the space for it at East Freeborn, is an old one by Hermann Gosta. It's a beautiful painting of Christ in the Garden of Gethsemane. He is being visited by an angel. And for many, many years, Christians in at East Freeborn had that as their reflection painting that was on their altar. And it is so appropriate because Christ shows that as a human, he is doing his cost benefit analysis for dying on the cross. He said, if it is possible, let this cup pass from me. Who wouldn't say that? All of us would. No matter how gung-ho Peter like we are. Lord, I'll die for you, type of thing. Well, Peter showed that sometimes he fell into temptation, doing the wrong thing, and so do we. But he showed his humanness, and so did Christ. He said, if it is all possible, let this cup pass from me. But then, what does he say in the next line? But not my will, but yours be done. You see, that's what Peter's reflecting on in verse 18. Christ suffered. Christ chose that suffering, but he also chose the will of God as superior to his own feelings, his own fears, and his own disappointments. In fact, Jesus screams from the cross, not Psalm 23, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not be in want. No, he was honest, and he was screaming Psalm 22. The psalm right before it, my God, why have you forsaken me? Sometimes doing the right thing may feel like we have not only been forsaken by the world, but being forsaken by God himself. So those are things to kind of consider and to be aware of as we do this cost benefit analysis of things. So remember, put God first, put Jesus first in your decisions. Put his will as number one. God bless you today. We trust that these continue to be words of encouragement. Take care. God bless. We'll see you next time.